Yeah, everyone, this is Thermite, and this is Weekly Shonen Jump for the week of November 14th, 2021. On the cover, we've got a brand new series in Jump, first of the 3 new series that are busting in right now. This is Ayashimon by the mangaka of Hell's Paradise, Jigokuraku, a series that I don't know if my reactions are up anywhere for that now that I think about it. They might be on the full Thermite Kitty experience down below, but I so rarely update that. But counterintuitively, that means it's probably there, because the last time I updated it, I probably put up like all my Hell's Paradise reactions, and it's been a long time since I did them. I really like the series. Like, I should probably say that right off the bat. I am not like a super big Yuji Kaku stan, because I just haven't like read a lot of their work. But Hell's Paradise was very, very solid at what it was trying to do. Like, the art was gorgeous, the writing was really, really strong. It was a what's the term for that? Like, it isn't a death game, but it's got death game like blood in it. It's very much a like, these people have to do this thing, and if they don't do this thing, they will die. And so it is a, we have to do this to survive, but also the thing we're doing is extremely dangerous and we might die just, in the process of doing it. It's really, really good, and I really enjoy especially the action in that series, like the action and the like scary arts. Like, I don't want to say like any one specific thing, just like anytime they draw something that is meant to be scary, it looks really, really good. And so I'm really excited to see what they do here. Like, Ayashimon as a name worries me a little bit. It feels like we might be doing like a yokai series, or like not a monster collection series necessarily, but it gives me big yokai energy. And that is something that historically I have not liked in Jump. But also, it's been a while since we've done a yokai series in Jump. Like, the only one I can think of right now is Ayakashi Triangle. Yeah, because like even like Magu-chan has like monsters in it in a sense, but that's not really what I'm talking about when I say yokai series. What I'm referring to is more of just like public domain monsters in a sense. It is like, these creatures are things that you already know about, so we don't have to put a lot of effort into it. Like, we'll still be doing twists on them, but it is a fundamental, like, this creature and this creature and this creature, and this one's going to be the final boss, and this one's going to be this monster of the week, and this one's an ally character, or like our main hunter character's powers are based on this monster. It's a very good template to use, but wait a minute. I was thinking about what I was just saying, and I mean, if I'm going to say public domain monsters is my problem, then I guess that was also Red Hood, which means it has been like 1 week since the last yokai series running in Jump. Like, Red Hood felt a little different to me because A, like, they were like Western, public domain monsters, and B, because we didn't really focus on the monsters that much after like the first arc. Like, after that point, it was mostly just like, we're doing hunter stuff. Like, we are doing like, training between the hunters. But even that, I would say, is like, there's still a lot of like names that were based on like fairy tales and whatnot. It was definitely in the same vein of like, I'm going to use all these names and these like general vibes that you're familiar with in order to build this world really, really quickly. And therefore, I have to put less effort into like building out this thing or this thing, because the fan base will be speculating based on the fact that I used this name for this character or this ability for this character. So I guess I'm going back on my word. It's too soon. No, I don't really think so. And I'm jumping off the gun way too quickly with this name. Like, again, I don't actually know this is going to be a yokai series. That's just the vibe I'm getting from it. It gives me big, like, these two are going to be hunters that hunt monsters. But, like, the only other vibe I'm getting is just from the art style. Like, from this art and from the way I remember Jigokuraku looking. And, like, just like the tone of Jigokuraku. I could definitely see this being a series that is trying to fill the Chainsaw Man slot in Jump. Splot! But, yeah. Because Chainsaw Man, of course, will come back in Jump Plus. And so I could see it being a clear, like, we really want something that has that, like, edge to it, that is, like, pushing the boundaries, but in a way that's still very Jump-like. It's also just amazing to me, like, saying that out loud, that Chainsaw Man went from being, like, unbelievably standout, like this, this thing that I hadn't seen in any other series in Jump, to something where, like, I can say Chainsaw Man slots, and it feels so right. It's such an immediate, like, yeah, once you show people that this is, this can be a kind of series in Jump, people are gonna want to write things like that in Jump. So I'm actually really hoping that, like, not that this is Chainsaw Man or that, it's like obviously trying to do a similar thing, but I'm really hoping it manages to like I want how do I put this? I want something, if not the series, then at least another series to kind of fill in that slot while the king is waiting, while Chainsaw Man Part 2 is in the process of being written out in the shadows. Anyways, that was a lot of talk about baseless speculation. Let's move on to something that is not baseless. That's right, we're talking about Black Clover, Chapter 313. Sorry, I almost erased 100 chapters of Black Clover. Ooh! Page 313, the captain of the Black Bulls. So, I mean, we've had so many, or like not so many, but we've had chapters that are like this position. And it's always to be called back to, like, in One Piece, where we've had, like, the 7th Straw Hat, the 8th Straw Hat, which is usually not, like, the chapter that character's introduced, but it's, like, the chapter when they formally join the crew. And so, like, the chapter where we got Noct's whole, like, part of Noct's whole deal, when we got the vice captain of the Black Bulls, I was so hype. And this is so cool to finally be getting the Yami story. The theory I've always really, really liked, which I guess we'll be putting to the test now, is Yami from Japan? Like, we know he is from a land out in the east, and that is a place where, knowledge of how to read people's ki is, like, not commonplace necessarily, but just, it's a thing that people there can do. And so that's how Yami knows it, and that's, because of that, he was able to teach Asta this, and the two of them are, like, the only people we know about who can read ki. And so there's been a strong, mostly comedic fan theory stating that he is in fact an isekai character who came from Japan to this world, and he's just saying it's a country out in the east because he doesn't want to say I'm from another dimension. Oh, yeah, so he was discriminated even at this point. It's so interesting, like, seeing his story now after we've seen like how he's accepted all the other Black Bulls, seeing that Julius himself was like, yeah, I'm gonna give you an entire goddamn like section of the of the Magic Knights, like seeing everything that he did to make the Black Bulls more accepting while still having this edge to it, and then like going back and seeing him here where like he's got nothing. Like, did he just wash up recently? Oh, that's so good. Like, just the hard cut from, him being discriminated against to Julius immediately accepting him, immediately, like, Machiko takuing out at him, Noct and Morgan. This is actually such a cool way of doing this. Like, I really thought it was going to be a more traditional, like, slow burn. Or, like, we'd learn more about the area he was raised in and all that. But no, like the idea we were just flashing through all these people that are connected to him and just seeing like their first impressions of him, or like what they said the first time they met him. Oh, and like getting it from his perspective is so cool. And yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Like there's so many scary people here anyways that having dark magic is not that weird. Oh, and I do love the statement of even the most fearsome magic is defined by the person who uses it. Ah, this is the genesis. Like I love that also, like in this arc we got Morgan saying this before, and so like we saw that. I think we even saw his grave, but it might have just been like this kind of shot where we knew that both Noct and Yami were at Morgan's grave. Ah, and this is so cool. Like yeah, I do love it. I love that the Black Bulls from the very start were meant to be the outcast brigade, because also it makes complete sense. Like now, how do I put this? Like in a lot of other series, I could see it being, it could feel really weird that, oh, I can't believe the main character's brigade is the one with all the super weird, interesting powers. All the other brigades are, super boring in hindsight. But it makes total sense because Yami's the kind of person who would reach out to, like a sick person in a house who can't be around other people, or someone like disgraced nobles, or nobles that seem to have no use of no control over their powers, or people with weird curses. Like it's a big gamble, but because they were all in this area and because they were all accepted and because they could all like grow and like evolve these powers instead of being just, like crushed while they were young. It's so cool. Ah, it's so cool, like seeing like again, a lot of these are moments we have seen, but like seeing them again, seeing how he approached all of them and having it like yeah, like I don't know if any of these are ones we haven't necessarily seen yet. It's giving this big dopamine rush of like, oh fuck, right, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one. um Actually, I don't know if we saw this one. I don't know if we've actually seen how he was inducted into the Black Bulls, whereas a lot of the others I think we've seen. I don't know if we saw how he approached Noelle, actually, weirdly enough, whereas I feel like I recognize most of these. Also, like, seeing that Magna and Luck were introduced like at the same time is really fun. Actually, is this Gray? I can only assume this was like the form Gray took at that point. I don't know who else this would be. The one who ended up finding a place to belong might actually have been me. Yeah, like having him stated is so like living all this time, being able to completely let go of the stigma around having dark magic, and then bringing it all back around to this moment where, someone is outright saying, yes, your magic is evil. It has the power of the underworld. You are going to corrupt, this other captain who you served with, who, like, he was the evil one for an entire arc. Now you are the one who is going to destroy the world. God, that is crushing. Okay, so are these, like, all the thoughts of the Black Bulls? I'm really curious if, like, these are all, like, properly typesets. 'Cause, yeah, those look like they're actual words. This one is definitely, my goal is to be a man among men, which I assume is, like, Magna. I still haven't gotten to fight for real. When you caught me that day, you saved me. Thanks to you, I worked to become a true magic knight. I got to eat lots and lots of yummy things. Okay, that one's extremely obvious. You showed me my true self. That's got to be Gray, actually. Thank you for not being scared of me. That's Gordon, right? I mean, Gordon could also be... No, I think that one makes the most sense for him. I can't beat the enemy, but at this point, I'm a wimp who can save his friends and his brother. Actually, I survived and met lots of friends. That might be Henry, actually. Like, were any of the others actually trying to kill themselves? Or, I mean, like, Henry wasn't trying to kill himself, but, he was kind of just, like, starving to death in his bed. And then, we can't live however we want in a world without you in it. God, that's gotta be Asta, right? God, he's up. Oh, that's so cute. Like, having it be all of them screaming this, and having it be this big, like, there's no shame to this. They are all, I mean, like, some of them are definitely blushing over it, but it is this big, unabashed, yes, sir, we love you. Cutest shit in the universe. Aww. So cute. So unbelievably cute. Okay, looks like the gates are opening. Looks like we have at least one more problem to deal with. But, like, they're all physically there. Actually, I think, like, they're all rushing in. I'm assuming, like, a wave of darkness is gonna blast them back. Yami and William will stay in the machine, like, while this monster comes out. So they'll have the dual problem of, we have to fight off this devil, but also we need to, like, pull Yami out, or, like, destroy the circle or something, like, in some way we have to stop this, but also, like, we're fighting a devil who probably doesn't want us to stop it. This feels like it's gonna be in the top 3 for me. Like, I am just an absolute sucker for this sort of, like, pure love. It's so cute, it's so amazing. Like, how can this not thrill you deep down inside? I wonder if this is gonna look good if I stitch, like, the shot of Yami responding and the Black Bulls all running towards him together. It's so perfect. Oh my god. Black Clover continues to be an absolute banger. Yeah, is there really anything else to say? Like, I also appreciate that, like, it... I really expected there to be more filler in this flashback. Like, the moment I saw this page and I saw it was a flashback, I really thought we were going to do a bunch of, your classic, and here's this other part of him being an outcast. Like, it wouldn't necessarily be bad, but I love this so much more. That, like, we know so much of Yami's story. The only thing we really don't know is, like, what happened before he got to the Clover Kingdom. And that is something that I'm still interested in. Like, maybe we'll get that eventually. But I'm so in love with this chapter for being the big, like, we start off with him, being ostracized. We see, like, that immediate connection. We see, like, we go through the series with all these connections that we know are already there. Like, we don't have to linger in this, like, realm of, but his life sucks, and that's gonna get better, but right now we have to go through the part where it's really awful. Like, no, it is immediately like, no, now we're going to jump right into the part where he was, like, where he became a captain, he found friends and people, even if they don't love him necessarily, like, he found all these connections. Like, it's so... it's so emotional. It makes me, again, also just love Yami. Like, if he dies in this arc, I'm going to be heartbroken. Like, I don't think he will. I definitely 100% do not think that he will die here. Like, it's not possible to me. Black Clover's not that kind of series. Like, Black Clover couldn't even kill off Julius, and that was a death where I was like, yeah, this is heartbreaking, but I fully understand it. I hope they don't take it back. They took it back. Like, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with, like, Yami getting out of this A-okay. And I'm so excited to see, like, the Black Bulls fully reunited for the first time. I said it last time, I'm still saying it this time. I'll probably say it every single chapter until we get it. Ah, God, absolutely amazing. Black Clover, you get the undisputed first and last place as always, but this week I genuinely think it has a shot of getting into the top 3. Watch it. Okay, no more dilly-dallying. Let us move on to the Elusive Samurai, Chapter 40. Wait, what? Okay, I heard that she's Mochizuki Dona's Shoshi, child by a concubine. So I wonder if all 3 of the factions are actually, like... Well, no. I guess it is, like, of the 3 retainers now, we know, like, all 3 of the clans that those 3 retainers came from. Like, you know, saying, like, counting them as Ayako, Shizuku, and, boy, whose name I don't remember right now, Koshiro. Like, yeah, this arc did, like, give us, you know, Koshiro's clan and now her clan, but without, like, really foreloading it as we're gonna learn about their clans. That's really interesting. Chapter 40, 3 Great Generals, 1335. Okay, also, I didn't say this at the very start because I was, you know, so taken aback by this. But okay, so yeah, last chapter I did think, like, they got overrun way too easily. This has to be part of a plan. So the question is, like, did they retreat as a tactical, like, now we're going to go and pincer them? Or, like, the idea I had last week, which I really, really, really like, I really think they're going to do it, is they all retreat along with Tokiyuki. And this is going to be where Tokiyuki first comes up with the concept of attacking while retreating. Like, they're going to run to the middle battlefields, and as they are running, they're going to be pursued by this conquering force. But as they're being pursued, they, you know, they use arrows, they, you know, stab backwards, they do all sorts of things to whittle down the force. So by the time they get to the middle battlefield, like, you think at the start, like, oh, this is going to be, you know, 2 enemy forces joining up and then pincering them. But then, like, there's so little of that first enemy force left that it is just a good guy pinning, you know, like, pincer attack. Wait, Mochizuki's break ribs to get stronger. Oh, I didn't even think about it, but he must have he must have definitely destroyed someone's skull with his bare hands, right? Like, Ayako wanting to do that has to be the result of him doing it at some point. Or him at least, like, saying, I can do it, and you should be able to do it too. Okay, so they are unharmed. I hated fighting from inside, so I let the enemy have it. So are they going to attack the soldier, though? Or, like, I said soldier, I meant forts. Like, are they going to go back, or are they just leaving it as a trap? Like, all the enemy forces are going to be fixated around that fort, and therefore, like, you know, they're not going to send as many people out as they could otherwise. So I assume you're coordinating with Shinomiya Dono. I mean, that's your plan, right? I mean, you guys are the ones transmitting information, so I assume he has not said this. God, and I really love that, like, Tokiyuki's getting so good at not just using his vassals, but actively, like, understanding what they want to do and then, like, allowing them to fulfill that. Like, it's something that I saw, like, first really with Genba, where Genba was introduced and Tokiyuki immediately understood, like, you know, this is he's a greedy, like, thief. And I'm not going to try to appeal to him by not paying him money or not, like, offering him enormous, you know, potential in the future. But, you know, we're not going to just, you know, pay him the way he wants. I am going to set this up in such a way that we'll give him a big payment at the very end. Like, you know, we'll give him an entire goddamn province. And, you know, like, I'll also make sure that he's not, like, fighting on the front lines. I was listening to a podcast recently that, is this a tangent that I need to do? I don't think this is a good tangent, actually. I'm halting this one. I don't think I've ever done that on a Weekly Shonen Jump, but I'm going to prove that I can. Tangent averted. Yeah, he's nailing it. And I love that, yeah, like, we're seeing how everyone is growing to admire him. Like, he's proving himself, and we're seeing that loyalty being built. So what plan might Shizuku have? Yesterday, when I saw the southern fort, it appeared to have an excess of troops. So yeah, just, like, rebalancing it. Interesting move, because that is also like, taking one of their like strongest generals and putting him in this like defensive position as opposed to like letting him be on the field. That's a really cool concept. It's so cool. Like setting it up so this most important midsection battle can be won like through force. That's and like it's cool in a way that like this isn't a absolute surefire strategy because yeah, like this is, like it is designed so that they'll have a really good, chance of being able to hold everyone off, but they still could get overrun. It's still very much possible. Same with like, trapping Ichikawa might work, or like, if he has a bad feeling, he might send a bunch of his soldiers around the side and, have them back up the Kokushi. So it's still very, very scary, but it's so good. And yeah, like, yeah, the concept of children coming in saying, hey, we know the generals are, our main asset here, like the main thing that allows us to fight, even though, we have so many, so fewer troops. But what if we shift around the generals? Yeah, it seems like the generals, have all fallen for Tokiyuki as well. Like us, he must have a plan. And like we already set up that, like the messengers are like very much in danger. And like all of the enemy forces at this point have a grudge against the elusive warriors. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do just go for a hard like, yeah, we're waging this war, but we are also going to expend extra forces to specifically try and kill the elusive warriors. The main enemy force has disappeared. Are they doing it? Are they just gonna pincer the elusive warriors? Is that it? Woo! Because yeah, it's just the three of them, right? 100 versus 3 is not a strong one. Also, this is really cool. Like the idea this is not like I was thinking of it as being, kind of metaphorical, and it made sense as they like, he's keeping his eyes specifically on the elusive warriors. But then cutting to this point, it's like, no, this is also 100% literal. Like he is literally within like eyesight of them, looking at the three of them. So cool. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they might not get out of this one. Like, not that they'll die, but they might just be captured now. I mean, Tokiyuki might not. I guess that's everything. Like, is Tokiyuki going to abandon his vassals? Because we know, like, Tokiyuki has the super cheat level escapism. So he could definitely get the hell out of here. I said escapism, I mean, like, escapology. But would he do that and leave behind, like, two of his most important retainers to be tortured and killed? Oh, boy. Because, yeah, like, just through sheer numbers of people, I can't see them leaving with their horses. And I can't see anyone besides Tokiyuki being able to escape without a horse. I mean, even then, like, we know Tokiyuki's, like, learned, like, how to, like, ride his horse even more skillfully as of late. So he might just leave with his horse. But, like, I can't imagine the other two are going to be able to do that. And to be fair, like, if they do capture Kojiro and Genba, I could see that still working out in everyone's favor, in that... like, Genba could definitely, like, break them both out and they could sneak away. And I don't think the adults would kill them, because they would work way better as pawns in order to, like, draw in Chojimaru or try to, like, draw in Yorishige. Also, I just appreciate how important Sadamune has been ever since he was introduced. And, like, that has been the same for most of the villains. Like, once they have come into play, they continue to stick around and be a thorn and be dangerous and terrifying. Like, it allows the our main characters to, continuously win against them while still making it feel like they're just barely doing it, and that they are in fact fighting, terrifying enemies. I love it. Elusive Samurai is so damn good. This goes right below Black Clover, but it's a tough one, legitimately. Black Clover is so good. Oh no, did I not update the numbers? Let me just do that real quick. And with that, let us move on to Neru, Way of the Martial Artist, Chapter 18. 5 years later. So yeah, this has to be the finale, right? I still don't know what the third series being canceled would be then. But yeah, this is the most, like... we have to do a final chapter that, pays off, seeing Neru having been in action all this time. Like, we can't end it with just, and he continues to train at school. I didn't think about it, but yeah, I guess, like, horse riding specifically would be, like, very bankable in Japan. Like, because horse racing is still, like, so big there. Whereas, like, yeah, a lot of the other martial arts that people would have learned at school, like, aren't really that applicable besides specifically, like, doing it for sports. Or, like, that's a bad way of putting it, because like, horse racing is a sport. But, like, in terms of, like, being able to make a lot of money on it. Like, a lot of the weapon-based stuff is not stuff that would then translate to a, like a traditional job that isn't just teaching people martial arts or like practicing martial arts for the sake of, the love of it. It's so weird seeing them all as adults. Like, also just because, like, we've learned about them throughout the series, but we didn't get enough of them for me to really, like, adore anyone. He became a piercing artist or like a body mod artist. What is she doing? Most days we all have to blend into society, but on this day we get to be martial artists again. Oh, he looks like an adult. It's gonna be so weird seeing Neru if he's got like a beard. I mean, actually no, we're seeing his chin here, so there's no way he's got a beard. Is he just gonna look the way he did in school? Oh no, it's the cops. Okay, that's really good. Barefoot Knight, first allowed to race in Japan. So, I mean, like, is he a horse racer or is he just like a human racer? Yeah, I'm guessing, yeah, he has to be a horse racer then. Like, it was the barefoot thing that made me wonder. But I guess it might just be that, like, he's still barefoot while riding a horse. It's an okay design. Kind of plain, but, like, it's a strong evolution of, what he looked like before. He looks, reasonably older. That's actually a really interesting idea. Like, yeah, because like horse racers have to be, relatively light, he has to reduce his muscle mass as, he physically gets taller and taller. It doesn't matter your stamina, your age, or your gender. If you can master your opponent, you're a true martial artist. Is he getting to wear the grandpa mask now? Like, I like it in theory, but it's a real, like, how do I put it? Like, it's plucking a lot of strings that were already set up, but because because the series didn't last that long, it doesn't resound quite the way it really should. I really, like, it's satisfying in the sense that I'm happy this is here, and I'm happy that, like, to see a glimpse at, the way this was going to end all along. But just, like, because we were barely able to see anyone do anything, it can't resonate that well. Like, that's not the mangaka's fault. That is, again, Jump's fault for cutting them off so early. But, god damn. Neru was a good-ass series. God damn, I can't believe it's gone. Yeah, this is going to the bottom, just because, like, as an ending, it is the most, like, this series was canned ending. It is the most, like, we jump forward, and now here's where everyone is. We gotta touch on everyone a little bit, and now we'll end it. But fundamentally, Neru as a whole is still a series I would recommend to people, like, especially, like, the first, like, part of it. It has so much potential, but it's a real, like, I've got so many series that I can only recommend to people who are completely fine with reading a series that they know was canceled. But at the same time, like, I'm glad that kind of thing exists. Like, I'm glad that, like, these series don't just die without getting Tonkabones or anything. I'm glad that you can go back and read, canceled Jump series, because they're good. Sometimes they're just damn good. I flew through these way faster than I expected to. Like, Black Clover's always fast, but Elusive Samurai was way more kinetic than I expected it to be. And Neru, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I'll leave it right there, and we'll touch on the not the author comments, the live stream in a little bit. Hello, everyone. This is the live stream. As you might be able to tell from the chat, having a healthy amount of talk already in it, I have learned how to pause OBS and then unpause in order to have the pre-recorded and the normal reaction live stream all in the same file. It is forbidden knowledge. And so, because of that, I was also able to talk to chat for a little bit without, doing what I always do, which is, talking about a bunch of bullshit that no one cares about, and then going back and going like, all right, what part of this should I keep in? This is just 10 minutes of me telling homie I don't like his rankings. How is this useful? Or rather, that's the kind of thing you should be checking out on the Battle Fight Ridercast. Don't come to my streams for people dunking on homie. There's already somewhere else on the internet for that. Also, I will say, speaking of Neru, the final page was good, but yeah, I don't know if it saved it. It is like the textbook final chapter of a series that got canceled. Anyways, we have Ayashimon. I keep on thinking Ayakashi, but it is just Ayashimon. I don't actually know what Ayashimon translates to. I'll probably check that out after I'm done the chapter. Yeah, Neru made the U19 club. Neru and Red Hood both did it in two very different ways. If you stitch together my reactions to Neru and Red Hood, which I might do at some point, like it is actually possible because both series are so short, they really are a textbook of like Red Hood is the series that does everything right in a way where you look at it and you're like, yeah, this mangaka is doing everything logically in the best way in order to succeed in Jump. And then they got canned. And Neru is the real, like, this is the next One Piece. This is the next, like, big, long-running, like, this is the next Chainsaw Man in terms of how, like, just naturally it seems to be so damn good week after week after week until a certain arc. But even that, was not able to recover from that arc, and it got canned. It really is, because like the one series I dropped was PPP. We'll have to see if PPP makes it past. Like if it does not get U19s, then I am just cursed, and I might have to stop the weekly Shonen Jump reactions. Or worse, I might have to make these reactions only to things I don't like. Which, to be fair, that does seem to be the powerful trend on the internet. It does seem like people really like watching people watch/talk about things they don't like. And that is something that I would say historically I try not to do that on the channel. Like even for series I'm a bit iffy on, I usually try to see the bright side of it for the most part. Like if it's something I genuinely don't like, I will just stop. But maybe I should do the opposite. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll do a double blind at some point where I put out one weekly Shonen Jump and one nega weekly Shonen Jump. Like I just do a chapter of everything that comes out weekly that I am not currently reading, and then we'll see which one does better. You do raise good points. Like I would definitely rather watch, someone with a strong negative reaction than someone with a totally neutral reaction. We shall see. Anyways, Ayashimon, I made a prediction in the pre-recordeds, but just to recap, I don't think it's gonna be a collectible card game / monster series. I do think it's probably gonna be a yokai series. I get big yokai energy from it. I read Hell's Paradise Jigokuraku to an extent. Like I stopped, but not because it got bad or anything. It has consistently been really, really good. I just stopped because I stopped a lot of things on the channel. And so I like this mangaka well enough. And I think that's, I don't think it's going to be like Chainsaw Man, but I think it's aiming for, like, the slot that Chainsaw Man has left open in Jump of, that kind of, like, pushing the boundaries sort of series. Like, just from what I've read of Jigokuraku, it feels like, this mangaka could do something like that. Where it is very, like, shonen, but in a, like, interesting, surprising way that makes you rethink like how shonen is without being just like pure edge all the time. Tatsumaki Fujimoto. Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that they're an assistant of Fujimoto. I could definitely see that now that that's been pointed out. Let me actually pull this up just so anyone watching on YouTube can see these two illustrations. I still gotta check out Dun Dun Dun. I have not yet, but if I do, I'll also record it. I've heard good buzz, but I've been staying away, so I don't know anything about the series. I just know that people seem to be liking it. Okay, that's enough dilly-dallying. Let's go in. Ayashimon, Chapter 1. Interesting. We shall see how Google handles this in the future. Why? Now, many of you have Aya grudges against each other, but I ask you set aside your beefs for today. So is this some sort of like demon underworld then, or like demon mafia essentially? Because it is also the Enma syndicates. So I can definitely see it being a like the literal underworld. This is an issue for all Hayashimon. Demon Yakuza. I see. Oh yeah, this is big yokai. I do like these designs though, and like the sheer variety, and also like the shifting in different sizes and whatnot. It looks really, really striking. The colors as well, actually. Like the bright colors for certain Ayashimon look really, really strong together. It's very chaotic. And I suppose that also explains this situation. Like I was wondering if it was supposed to be some sort of like strange Yakuza ritual. But I'm guessing it is just that like a lot of these beings don't quite know how to handle this kind of food. I can see some Oku vibes in here. By the way, I recently caught up on Gigants. Would not if you like the first volume of Gigants, then you're probably gonna like the rest of the series. But I don't think it's quite my series. Okay. So this seems to be our character who doesn't have cones on their head. I wonder if he's supernatural or if this is just raw human strength that is powerful enough to punch a sandbag in half. Oh, you can do the Kaniku Buster. Oh, this is really the opposite end of oh, what am I thinking of Neru, actually. In that Neru, like, near the end of the series, we really got this theme of, like, being a martial artist means that you don't quite fit into the modern day. Like, if you are drawn to this, desire to master these various, like, traditional arts of the body, then you can't really do that anywhere in the world besides in other martial arts stuff. So you're like, you don't really fit in everywhere. Whereas it seems to be, coming at from the opposite direction of, rather than skill, it's just raw power. He is just truly inhumanly strong. I buy it. I buy that he could fight Ultraman. Now, did he fail doing these because he's bad at cooking, or is it because he was just super strong? Like, these, I would assume, like, that might have happened because he was super strong. But with just, like, making the food, I feel like that's gotta just be that he's not very skilled. You raise a good point. Oh, tell me, Kenshiro. I mean, fighting punks seems like, the one thing he would be very good at. Now, did he even try? Or is this a fundamental, like, he literally cannot control how much power he exerts? Oh, this dude's Maro Kaido. So, okay, he is just this strong all the time. So I wonder if he's, like, possessed or something. I mean, it's possible he's kind of like One Punch Man to his body. Like, he just trained too hard. But in a series like this, I'd probably go more for a, like, he's cursed with this unbearably powerful spirits. Oh, it's been a hot minute since I've thought about Blood Lad. Fun fact, if you know about Crossbone, I did recommend Blood Lad to him, and he inexplicably somehow bought the first volume of Blood Brats, which is the gag manga spin-off. And then he was not, like, angry at me, but he was very confused and upset. And he, like, talked me through the entire first chapter multiple times before I understood, like, oh, you just bought the wrong manga. You just bought a gag manga spin-off. No wonder this doesn't make any sense. What if a young girl's getting chased by a bunch of big, scary-looking toughs? I mean, I am genuinely very surprised that he hasn't, like, found work as a bodyguard or something. Like, that would be, like, if I were this strong, I'd probably go for that second. Like, fundamentally, I'm not a very fighty person, so I'd probably go into, like, construction or something first. But then after that point, I'd probably be like, I guess I'm gonna kill people. I think if I got superpowers and they weren't, like, very easy to use, I would very easily fall down the supervillain pipeline, just by virtue of me not knowing what to do with this power. I'd probably just default to, I guess I'm gonna fight superheroes? Now, is she being chased, or is she their leader? I'm guessing that's gotta be the twist, right? Whoops, my body kinda just moved on its own. Oh, that looks rough. Is he dead? I'm definitely getting that, like, Saitama-ish, too strong at the top energy from him. It would be really cool if this does go down sort of a Guts-ish pipeline of, he is human. Like, he is at the absolute peak that a human can be, and so he has to fight, like, Ayashi because they're the only things that can handle his raw physical strength. Like, that really... I feel like that's going to be a big marker for what the series is. Like, there are two paths. One is he is strong because he is very strong, and the other one is there's a nine-tailed demon fox inside of me, and it makes me really, really strong. God, I really like this guy's hair. It's so distinct. Like, I'm a sucker for anyone who has these, like, the only way I could put it is, like, leaves or petals of, like, hair, where it's not just, like, streaks, but they are, like, fundamentally sticking out of the head. Strands, I guess, kind of work. Like, they're too thick to be... Like, when I think strands, I think of, like, what my hair does sometimes, where it's just, like, this. Where, like, it's barely there. Whereas with these, like, there are very substantial chunks that are just, like, floating out there, or that are sticking up. Okay. So, can they just, like, disguise themselves in public, then? Oh boy, we've already got the big lollydom vibes. I want you to accept the Sakazuki Sake Cup. Hmm. This does raise the question of, okay, like, yeah, if she is the Yakuza boss, were those her men, or was she being chased down by an enemy group? Or I guess the third option is, like, as someone in chat said a little while ago, like, were they just her men and she doesn't want to lead them? Yeah, when I said this might take the Chainsaw Man slot and jump, I wasn't expecting it to be quite that direct. I already know what I want to be, a manga protagonist. So direct. Oh no. Oh, like this, it worked. Like they definitely got away with it because it's so comedic. But just the visual of a tiny little boy with all of his fingers broken because he punched a rock is so grotesque. Oh, and that does explain then why you said Kenshiro before. I was assuming that was just a, like, he's got some sort of Kenshiro senpai who is, like, a real person or like a brother or something. But no, he was definitely just talking about Kenshiro, the actual character. This is also a much more direct interpretation of the Saitama training from hell. Like, the Saitama's training is way more goofy in that, it is relatively low level for the amount of unbelievable strength he has. Where this is so directly just, I wanted to be a protagonist, so I did protagonist training until I was a protagonist. And yet he doesn't understand. He is, in fact, in a manga, as we all are. I'm so excited. Like, yeah, the fact that he does seem to just be human makes me really excited for the, like, I'm just a sucker for the, like, how do I put this? Like, not just for humans fighting monsters, but specifically for size difference. Especially if it is, like, big humanoid-shaped monster versus small teenager or Shota-esque, like, person fighting them. Yeah, the real David versus Goliath energy. Oh, it's so creepy. Okay, so what is going on? I will say for sure, I have never seen a yokai series like this. Like, with this, I mean, with this heavy Yakuza energy to it. It's so cool. Like, I've seen ones that have done at the very least the, like, you are, like, you are the, like, chosen person who will, like, inherit this, like, empire. Like, I've seen series where they say it's like a Yakuza situation, but I've rarely ever seen them, well, like, series where they do it. Usually it's more of a, like, we're using Yakuza terms, but this is basically just, being a princess or something. Whereas, like, this is dripping in Yakuza vibes. Of course, I assume we're getting these names because they're all about to die. Now, the other question is, like, is she this stuck up because, like, she's confident that he's going to save her? Or is she also just unbelievably powerful physically? Oh, she's really trying to piss them off. But again, it could go either way. Also, he had better not, like, run away from this destiny. This is the most I want to be a manga protagonist, and now I'm definitely in a manga energy. I can't take it. Don't get my hopes up any higher. Oh, he's already so into it. Yes, I will definitely be clipping this one later. This is a real, like, I feel like every new jump starts can be replied to with this image. When I get beaten up, I want to look like that. I want to be that cool. I see, he's got some sort of abusive father figure here. That definitely explains his desire to get stronger. Or, like, it's part of it. It immediately contextualizes this as being, partially this, like, childish idea of, I want to just do the, manga protagonist to fight and get stronger. But also a clear, like, he grew up in this situation in which he would, desperately want to become stronger. I do not know. This wasn't a satisfying boss battle. I really wonder then, like, are the bandages, I mean, he really likes the visual of bandages. So, like, does he bandage himself up now just because he likes the visual, or are his hands, like, really damaged? He got jaded so quickly. But I get it. And I also do like this anticlimax right here. Like, because I feel like it's part of the struggle of growing up as a kid, where you, like, think that on some level, like, not necessarily that your parents are infallible, but that they are bigger than they really are, or that there's some level of, largeness or strength to them that, isn't quite like that you wouldn't assign to anyone else, and then you hit a point in your development where you're like, oh no, they are just like people like me. He's finally in danger. Oh, and we set this up before with the like, how do you throw a car? Oh, you just throw it. Gonna do it. He's gonna throw the car. This is such a cool visual. Is it me, or do I look like a manga protagonist right now? Oh, they even do one-on-one fights. This truly is the perfect situation for a self-described manga protagonist. What's this full design gonna look like? Oh, that looks so dope. Oh boy, what Dragon Ball special move is he gonna use? What would he use? Like, realistically, I want to say, like, Wolf Fang Fists. I'm trying to think of, like, actual physical moves you could use, but I feel like this kind of... He wouldn't use a Yamcha move. That's very uncool. Maybe Instant Transmission. Like, he'll run so quickly that it will look like he disappeared, but he'll be like, oh, Instant Transmission. Oh, he's doing a Kamehameha. That is so cool. Thank you very much, author. Is he going to kill all of these Yakuza? God, he's so happy. Like, the fact that he is taking punches and that we are, like, seeing the damage on him makes me so happy. It really makes him feel like a battle nut. Like, it doesn't feel like he's just flexing. It is a clear, like, he wants to be hit. He wants to then hit in return. Now, does she want this after this? This is a real, like, I might be a demon, but I feel like I've met an actual monster today. What is this if not premeditated self-defense? The dream is still alive. Oh, they've already exchanged food. What is this if not Chainsaw Man? Yeah. Plus, like, due to the tone of the series, this does give me this feeling of, like, I don't think he is invincible. Like, he is unbelievably strong, but he can be hurt, and I would not be surprised if, like, in the series, like, not that he dies because he's the main character, but, like, I could see him, like, losing a fight by being stabbed, like, right through the gut, or, like, being inflicted with a extremely deadly wound and having to go to the hospital and, like, being knocked out for a year or something. Like, he's grounded with this very strong sense of he is a monster, but he's also entering this world of actual demons who, like, do they have actual magic? They can shapeshift, but even that you could probably say is, like, something sci-fi-ish. But, like, can they shoot energy beams? Okay, so this is the sign we had on the cover of Jump. Cool. Any beef between the citizens, the denizens there is settled by a one-on-one ritual duel. He's so happy. He's so happy with this. Also, like, the specific phrasing of beefs is very, very funny to me. Consider me very, very excited for this series. Because also, like, yeah, like, having it be this Yakuza series and, like, having it, like, already putting in the concept of, like, one-on-one ritual duels creates this extreme obvious reason why, like, he'll end up in situations where they have to do a one-on-one ritual duel, where he just has to fight one guy who probably has a special gimmick or is, like, really, really strong. Like, it's such a very simple, very easy to understand setup. Yeah, it's very refreshingly straightforward while having a lot of room to grow. Like, we're skimming over a lot of this, like, Ayashimon, like, political stuff. And this all feels like stuff that, like, later on in the series, they can definitely flesh this out. We can definitely, like, go into deep detail about it, or we might not. Or we might do the Chainsaw Man thing of, like, this is stuff that characters deal with, but our main character never really has to touch on it. Wait, did I not? Did I not, at everyone? Did everyone just jump in here? Oh no! I did a big goof! Is it still on my... Like, I was just about to post it when we started. Yeah, it was still, like, the last thing I had in my, in my clipboard. What a shame. There are people who care about watching these. I've got fans. How bad, how dangerous, how deeply upsetting. Please, please, please take the blame. But yeah, that was Ayashimon. It's something I'm very excited to watch progress. I don't really have a take on it besides what I've already said. And, like, even saying something like, I feel like it's taking the Chainsaw Man slot is still very reductive. it has this, it's definitely filling that place in my heart that's been empty ever since the part 1 ended. So I'm excited. I hope it nails it. I hope this has a long, filling run and jump. I really hope this doesn't get U19s, but we can only see and hope. So right now, oh no, my rankings are as follows: Black Clover, the Elusive Samurai, and Neru. Neru I don't think really has wings, but Black Clover, like, this chapter was really, really heartwarming. I really enjoyed it, so I feel like it's probably gonna, like, yeah, it's probably not gonna be in the top 3, but it'll be higher than usual, for sure. Ayashimon, I think, has to be above it right now. Like, this was just such a good first chapter. It really sold me on the series. Excited to to read more. And that's it, so let us move on swiftly to Sakamoto Days, chapter 47. Days 47 going up. Yeah, that's on me. I said it wrong. How could I not stick with the title or the chapter titling scheme of Days? Every week, I'm so bad at it. Right, so we ended last chapter with the question of, like, why can't he slim down? Did she turn off his slimming down organ? I mean, I think I touched on this last week. It cannot be good for him to slim down and then get a plump again. Like, that cannot be good for the body. It's been fine up to this point, but there's no way that's okay. Like, he's not fat gum. This isn't a quirk. He is, I mean, to be fair, this is also, again, a series where you can use monofilament wire to Spider-Man yourself up, like up a building, or you can have, like, giant, like, stabby poles implanted into your body, then you can squish out and it's fine. But if I had to guess, I'm guessing that, yeah, I'm gonna say that his ability to slim down was, like, some sort of liver problem. Like, it was an abnormal part of his digestive system that was actually killing him. Like, he gets stressed, and then it destroys his fat. And it wasn't actually making him stronger, he just thought it made him stronger. And so, like, she did cure something that is a part of him, but the downside is now he can't, like, enter slim mode. I wonder if do you think that mangaka have to, like, pay a fee every time they show the Tokyo Tower? Because it's shown up in so many series, and it is, like, it's almost always a clear, like, this is Tokyo Tower. But to be fair, they never do the, like, care of, whoever owns the Tokyo Tower. Duh! Now, this is not the moment that would have made me go, he's like Spider-Man. I don't think of this as being your classic Spider-Man move. Also, to be fair, I'm actually pretty surprised that he stopped it instead of, like, slicing it apart. Ah, that's why. I see. If he had sliced it apart, then he wouldn't be able to fix it. Now, what? This does raise the question of, like, what bothers a part and what doesn't. Because he did also, like, destroy an entire side of Tokyo Tower getting up here. Like, why doesn't that bother him? The answer, I think, is just he is an evil, evil person. While he's busy cleaning up, I'll slim down. Sakamoto, is this helping? It seems like he's just gonna tire himself out with this. I mean, to be fair, I've never really thought of slim mode as being a power-up, as much as I've always assumed it was, like, like, he burns up, like, he's burning off enough calories to the point where he is now that size. And yeah, fair point, homie. Like, it's the same question as, like, why is Yoshikage Kira so upset about someone with a single inside-out sock, but he can still blow up a building? It gets you sometimes. Huh. Maybe she squeezed all of the slim juice into his skin, because that would also explain why he's not being cut. I mean, this ain't Ayashimon. Sakamoto presumably has skin, right? This monofilament wire can slice through Tokyo Tower. It should, like, the fact that his response to being squeezed by it is just, this jerk! What an abomination! Your pockets are filthy! Hey, Brevento. Okay, so cutting to the explanation. I haven't really reacted to it, but it has just been washing over me. The fact that they do keep on calling it his slim form and his fat form. Like, they are form changes. In the same way that I do think of, like, what's going on with the other two, like, major members of Sakamoto's as being form changes. I'm really glad this is canon. Malcolm Mathers! For shame. You know it's Marshall Mathers. Marshall Mathers is a platform, if we were using, Deno terminology. Then, of course, Eminem would be sword form, Slim Shady is gun form, and Stan is, well, I guess Stan is Negataros from the movie. I'm sure there's a couple of other M&Ms you can fit in there at some point. Terminal Cumbrain is so dangerous. Every time you say it, I want to change my profile name to it. And I do actually really like the sentiment. Like, I think I was on the wrong wavelength, trying to figure out what the mangaka was going for this. Like, yeah, fat guys have their own way of moving too. Sakamoto is trying to enter slim mode in order to fight the way he used to do back when he was in the game. But instead, what he should do is learn to fight the way he currently is. Is the part trying to neg Sakamoto? Strongest people are the ones who can adapt to move efficiently under any condition. Whether you're shoeless or have broken bones, it doesn't matter. The reason he burns through calories and slims down like crazy is because he doesn't get that. Oh, okay. So it was the, like, in a sense, it was part of the, like, you know, he's not, slimming down is not a form that makes him stronger, but rather, he is just being super inefficient. Fat form is peak Sakamoto. That's why he keeps on entering his peak form every time he's done a fight. Thin form is just, like, you know, it's the equivalent of battle damaged Goku. Like, he's not stronger because he's battle damaged. He's, you know, like, he's just been pushed to that point in the fight. I see. It's the cope, you're fat now, get over it pressure points. When he accepts himself as he is, he'll be plenty strong without slimming down. That's really, really cool. Because, yeah, like, I do like Slim Sakamoto visually as the, like, you know, like, this is a clear, like, this is what he was back in the past. But I think this is a really, really cool, like, direction to take. Of, yeah, like, he is, like, I mean, from the very start, from chapter 1, we've had to accept that, yeah, he is this, like, pudgy, you know, no longer an assassin storekeeper. And he is also better than any assassin out there. And this is, like, the perfect culmination of that, you know, of that story. It's really taking me off guard because I didn't think Sakamoto was ever going to go for that. Like, just because the series has, you know, for so long been pushing the, like, you know, when he enters slim mode is when, you know, the fight gets serious. Yeah. Really cool. Really love it. Oh boy, what is this visual going to be? This is so cool. Again, classic Sakamoto Days, just like perspective shots. It's gorgeous. I really feel for the assistants that had to draw all of these girders, though. Boy, this looks like it had to have been an insane pain to do. But it looks amazing. I mean, like, it doesn't even look that photo-referenced to me. Like, the angles of it look very, like, just geometric. Yeah, Sakamoto Days is it's so darn good. It's really a series that, like, I don't want to see adapted into any other form of media, because I don't think any other media is going to be able to nail the location fights. Or I feel like, you know, you would have to have it be a super duper high budget, like Hollywood TV show in order to capture, like, all of these fights. And at that point, like, do you really need to do it? Like, the manga's already that good. You're just chasing after something with extremely diminishing returns. I think it would be good, but I don't know if it would be worth the, like $500 million they'd have to pump into it in order to get something that is just on par with the manga. I think that Taijutsu Naruto animators could definitely handle, like, the physical action, but even then, I don't know if they'd be able to do the backgrounds. Like, there's not a lot of great Naruto fights I can think of, like, even in the anime, where the background plays a really important part in it, and the background is, like, not interchangeable. Like, it's not just, you know, generic forest. Like, not to say that that's bad necessarily, just, like, everything that makes a good Sakamoto Days fight really, really good is something I think is very hard to do in any other medium. Like, part of the beauty of, like, of manga and of comic books is this, you know, the fact that sequential art can do this kind of thing and give you this extreme powerful visual that, you know, like, prose alone can't. That's so good. Like, this is also the kind of chapter where if I read this as a kid and I got into an elevator, I would not stop, like, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from wondering, is Sakamoto fighting on top of this elevator? Like, even if it's not making any sound, I would just rationalize it in my kid brain as, like, maybe he's just being really quiet this time. But it's perfectly possible that Sakamoto is fighting on top of this elevator. To be fair, that might just be a me thing. I also used to, like, wonder constantly as a kid, like, I wonder if Spider-Man is in this elevator shaft. I mean, that's also just, like, a general vibe I really like about Sakamoto Days. The very, like, this is, for 99% of people in Japan, this is a banal, very normie world. Like, there is an entire group of assassins, and then you have the assassins that, fight other assassins, and you have insane serial killers that are also out there. But for the most part, like, no one really knows about that sort of thing. It creates that lovely, like, there is another world beneath this world, the true world. Boy, Viz, fix your sights. I mean, you guys probably aren't like, yeah, look at how sticky that is. Not great, Viz, stop. Sakamoto, is it okay if the entire next chapter is all backstory? Sit down, this one's gonna be a while. I will give you that, homie. Like, yeah, Studio Wit's, like, 3D, like, which part, was it, Season 3 Part 2, or was it just all of Season 3? Like, yeah, all of the, like, anti-personnel fights. I mean, 3D Maneuver Gear in general is really, really good, but I think especially the, like, the person versus person fights in Attack on Titan had a lot of that energy of it. Of, like, having a very modeled area that isn't very interchangeable, that is being used in this combat in a really interesting way. Like, even other fights in Attack on Titan don't quite scratch the same itch as something like Sakamoto Days, because, like, you hit a point where it's like, okay, these rooftops are kind of interchangeable, or, like, we're just next to the wall, or we're just, like, kind of in a forest for a while. But I would say that Studio Wit's, like, Attack on Titan fights are the closest I would get to something this impressive. And yeah, anything with, like, a long-ass background is something where it's like, the problem is also, like, I'm so used to, like modern action movies where they will just, like, green screen the shots, where, like, they will do, like, a fight, but it will, like, they won't actually go to the city, or they'll take, like, a reference photo for certain shots, and then other ones will just have, like, all CG buildings in the backgrounds. And so it has this, like, mild sense of uncanniness. Not in the sense that it looks bad, but just that, like, it takes away from something. There's something about it that bugs me, and I feel like a live-action Sakamoto Days probably wouldn't actually, like, show an actual city in the background. And that is, like, yeah, like, a live-action Sakamoto Days would just have to be so practical and so, like, in a real physical environment that I don't know if they would be able to pull it off. Because also, like, there's, like, the fights in Sakamoto Days are heightened in a very interesting way. Like, it's the kind of thing where you wouldn't be able to do a lot of wire work in order to have the same feeling. Because, like, when Sakamoto fights or, like, jumps off of something, or, like, when Shin is, like, I'm thinking of the roller coaster fights. When Shin is, like, hopping down and up the roller coaster, and they're having, like, this really strong fight, it's very kinetic and a very, like, real humans that are, like, not negating the forces of physics. Whereas a lot of other shonen fights have a element of these people are negating the forces of physics, and that's really cool. Like, that is what I like about a lot of wire work heavy fights. It is that sort of, like, Dragon Ball-ish, I can push against nothing, or I can, like, float in the air for a second while I do this punch in order to make it feel even stronger. Whereas with Sakamoto Days, I always get the sense that, like, physics is happening relatively realistically with everyone. Like, it gives the fights this very different energy. Like, the fudging happens more with just, like, how unbelievably resilient everyone is. Claymation Sakamoto Days would also be very, very cool. I can't argue with that one. Also, final question. Like, what are these hairpins? Are they power limiters? Like, are we reaching the point where a part is going to enter his final form once he makes a statement, like once he says his entire backstory? Or is this going to be a situation where he notices that the hairpins are all on the ground? He's like, oh crap, wait, stop. I know I just had a whole story, but I need to pick these up real quick. Anyways, that is Sakamoto Days. Fantastic. Jump, why are you so good this week? This is a real, like, me and Roboco last week had a panel where the main character's like, how is Jump this good? It's so weird. Every time I flip to a random page, it's still good. It's even good upside down. If every chapter this week is that good, I will have to try reading Jump upside down to see if it works. Anyways, Ayashimon was fantastic. This was good, I mean, I really do like the reveal that, Sakamoto slimming down is not a power-up. That is really, really cool. Do I put it above Black Clover? Like, Black Clover this week, I think, was very touching, very heartwarming. It was very, like, emotionally good. But it wasn't that, like, it didn't have absolute banger energy like this did. Is this better than Ayashimon? I think, by virtue of it being a chapter 1 and feeling so fresh, it's got a bit of an edge. It'll be tough to beat it. But I want to give it to Sakamoto Days. This isn't a democracy. I can do whatever I want. I'm giving Sakamoto Days #1 right now. Oh, good. I'm so happy that Jump exists and I can read it. Okay. Speaking of Jump exists and I can read it, I should continue reading Jump. Oh no, I'm gonna get impeached. Next is Undead Unluck, Chapter 87, Round 2. Oh, I called it a chapter when, of course, it is a number, which is something that inevitably is going to be important in Undead Unluck. Right now, it's not, but I'm certain, like, this is the kind of series where I assume Tosuka is going to do the big reveal of, by the way, these are all, like, records that the Union actually kept, or, like, these are all, like, physical numbers that are on the arc, and you have to take these chapters into the next dimension. Actually, the other thing I would say, if the there's the guesses I could have by virtue of this being called, number 87, but this might not be number. This could just be no. Like, it really depends on how these pages look like in Japanese, or like what the numbering scheme is like in Japanese. Like, if it is just like this, a kanji that means number, then I'll accept that. But if it is written as NO dots and then the number in Japanese, then I think there's actually a fairly strong possibility that this is supposed to just be no, as in, a negation. Like, this is not 87. Don't give me that. This is a completely valid theory. If this turns out to be true, you guys are gonna get so shook. This one isn't crazy. It's Undead Unluck. It's so negation focused. You'll see. You'll all see. And I do like this sentiment here of, like, Fuko may have lost this round, but she has gained something way more important. Like, Ishin is now, like, not just on her side, but Ishin is, like, she's gone from being someone who feels very fragile, someone who is very worried about what they can do, to someone who is unbreakable. And that is way more important. Also, these are some steel thighs. They look like they're made out of unbreakable metal. Is Spring going to remember this? Like, not Ishin as we know her now, but one of the previous Ishins. At least keep half of it. Fuko's the kind of character who really shouldn't, like, her main problem is that she can't really wear that much armor because she needs to be able to touch people. So, like, definitely, gonna lose the hand portions. What else is there, though? Like, I think she could definitely still wear the hat, or, like, like the helmet area. But even, like, the sides, I think, might be too much. Like, Fuko's also very light, and, like, she's gotten stronger as a person, but, like, physically, I don't know if the armor is going to help that much compared to her ability to dodge. I wonder how many Ishins have been in the Union. Because, like, it is a hereditary negator ability. So, like, and especially because, like, assuming this happens every single loop, then I imagine that's, like, whenever Juiz gets out of the arc, like, one of the first things she does is run over to Japan, go to the current Ishin and go, hey, you're going to be part of the Union. Here's my pamphlets. Here's my cult information. You're in. Also, the next Ishin will also be in the Union. Do it or I'm going to beat your ass. Is this phase 4? The way I see it, it looks like she just added fuel to the fire. The eyes changed, but I don't know if anything else did. So this probably isn't like another stage necessarily. Though I don't know, like, to be fair, I don't know if this is stage 3. Like, we accepted it as stage 3, but it's also possible this is just like, God just pumping more God influence into Spring. And so, like, it's going to continuously keep on changing, but it doesn't have the same connotations as like an actual stage change. Okay. Yeah, I didn't quite notice it in this shot. Like, it's there, but it was less noticeable than, like, in this one, where it feels like the darkness is way more noticeable to me. Okay. This is a good way of also just going like, all right, let's just take anyone who's currently fighting and let's just not have them fight in the background now. We're just gonna put them here for more tops? Ah, but this is the Negators. 13-man Karuta game. Okay. Oh boy, what are the rules of Karuta? Like, I've seen another manga do this before, but I don't actually know how to play Karuta. But okay, so I shall bring myself to move so that I will never move is probably top, right? The day I plant my foot square in God's face, I shan't stop. Okay, no, that's top actually. Oh no, okay, so that is unmove, obvious. Yeah, that's obviously unmove. That is the I shall bring myself to move so that I will never move. I guess most of these are probably going to have at least some obvious reference to their negator ability. Yeah, so Chikara, that's top. Should that mean I'm able to touch the bounds of your hearts? Because it's touch, I'm assuming Tatiana. Should I not make good on it? Then I shall make you fall, God. Not sure about that one. Then I shall make you fall. I shall abide and protect, that I shall swear by my hearts. That one I also don't quite have one for. Like, I want to go through all of them at least once, and then I'll come back to anything I've skipped over. And if you want to just say what it is, that's also cool. But yeah, these two I'm a bit iffy on. I have sliced upon that eye an unrepairable scar. Obviously, rip. Should I saddle it, struggle, or divine the fate of it? That's obviously Rip's girlfriend, whose name I can't remember right now. Because, like, I don't think we got the big, like, this is what her ability is. But it is very clearly, her predictions are always wrong. I cannot ever forget and suffer through the present. Huh. I cannot ever forget and suffer through the present. That's gotta be a memory ability, and no one really has one of those yet. So it might be someone from, Under. Because that's true, we also have, like, so we have Ishin, obviously. We've got Nico. We've got Sound Man, whose name I don't remember. So yeah, we actually do have a fair few. Is Bunny going as well? Oh boy, if one of these is Bunny, that's gonna be a big wild card. Okay, so Ishin, Chikara, Jui's top, Mui, Bunny, Creed, Latla, Rip, Tella, Yusai, Nico, and Tatiana. So Tella is this guy, right? Yeah, everyone else I think I know. Yeah. Cool. So still skip over those for a bit. Got that. Cannot ever forget. So please, you don't have to be so filled with all that sadness. Oh, that's a real, like, it depends on who's, like, being told that. You don't have to be so filled with all that sadness. There's also not anything there that immediately brings to mind, like, something that would be negated. Like, I guess sadness, but there's no way there's an unsad. I mean, that might be Bunny, actually. I could definitely see Bunny being unsad. I shall live up to the call, all through eyes devoid of lies. Search for a way to aptly repay the favor. Oh, that's also, like, very out there. Allow me to perish in my vision of justice is obviously Jui's. Like, that one I'm very certain of. And then I cannot voice my true wish of stopping him in this plan. Cannot voice. It makes me think that one's probably Tella, actually. Because, like, yeah, like, Tella definitely has some sort of, like, communications ability. And plus, like, Tella, the word tell is in there. So I could definitely see that being yeah, because, like, all of these are also, like, this is, the core belief of this person. So I imagine, like, this is going to be very enlightening in universe as a real, like, so I guess this is this person's motivation. I didn't know that. So I could definitely see that being the big, like, oh yeah, Tella's actually not down with this plan. Huh. Yeah, that's actually very interesting that, like, Auntie and Billy are not a part of this. So we don't have a Billy card. I was just, like, looking over the list again to see, like, is that a possibility? So, okay. We definitely have Chikara and Toph already. Mui would be... all through eyes devoid of lies, I think, is definitely Mui. Huh. Should I not make good on it, then it shall make you fall, God? I think that might actually be, I could say it being Yusai. Because we don't know what Yusai's ability is, but we do know that, like, part of Yusai's, like, point of being here was, like, she could stop the, like, the blossoms from falling. So I could see her ability being, like, unfall. That also actually does raise the question of, like, we know that for, some of the, for some of the Uma, we have, like, negators that are specifically that. Like, the Uma represents the rule, and then there's a negator that erases that rule. So, like, is there an unfall, an unspring, an unsummer, and an unwinter? Because, like, unfall and unspring, I think, also actually work very well as a, like, as a pun. Like, unfall would be literally, like, negating the ability of things to physically fall. And then unspring could be easily, like, negating the ability of things to, like, spring. Whether you define that as just, like, compressed mechanical energy or something else. But then unsummer and unwinter are just, like, I don't know how anyone would be able to handle those. I shall abide and protect. Actually, no, that one's probably, uh, I was just saying her name at the start of this. Ishin. Because, yeah, that was her whole flashback. The whole, like, not being able to fully protect and then now having the resolve to protect, for sure. So that's all of these. And obviously on repair, Latla. This one I really don't know. I was gonna say, like, this might be Billy or this might be, Juiz, but Juiz is definitely Vision of Justice. Billy isn't here. So please, you don't have to be filled with all that sadness. I think I'm gonna go with Bunny. I'm gonna say that Bunny is, like, unfunny or like unfill. Unfill kind of works, but then I was thinking of that as a, like, because Bunny absorbed the gun, but that is definitely filling themselves up with a gun. I'm gonna say Bunny here. Then we got that one. I shall search for a way to aptly repay the favor. That, I think, might be Creed. Just because, like, Creed, I imagine, is very straightforward in what his deal is. And then, like none of these really fit with the spirit of, like, undecrease. I mean, I guess you don't have to be so filled with all that sadness. That might actually work for Creed, actually. Like the concept of, like, how do I put this? Like, if something doesn't decrease, then it is filled up. Yeah, I'm gonna say for sure, actually. I think, so please, you don't have to be so filled with all that sadness is Creed. Because I think we're gonna get his backstory, and, like, what the mangaka is gonna play off of is this idea that Creed's suffering does not decrease. Like, every time, like, bad things continuously kept on happening to him before he joined Under, and it is a hard, like, it never gets better. He never stops thinking about this stuff. Like, he is continuously besotted with all of this suffering, and his suffering genuinely does not decrease ever. And so that's why he's, the kind of person who is completely fine with, like, nuking Tokyo. So that leaves, Nico and God voice that. So I guess Nico would then be I cannot ever forget and suffer through the present, which doesn't quite. I've really got to reread the series and just look at Nico more, because I'm sure we have information on Nico, but I cannot think of anything. So I will cut this off here. I mean, not the recording. I mean, just, like, my speculation on these cards. I've touched on everything. I've got guesses for everything. I should have probably also read the rules of Karata that are right here before I'd gone through all of these. Because, yeah, this also does actually make more sense. Right, yeah. So, like, there are separate, like, cards that are, like, the first verses of all of these. And then these are, like, responses to them. So that should also hopefully, like, explain them a bit more. This is genuinely such a cool concept. Like, in order to get information on all of these characters. Okay, Billy gets to read them. And this is an interesting situation, because, yeah, like, Spring is not reading them, so he has no advantage there. And he doesn't know any of these people, so, like, what is the plan? Oh, Billy can read Japanese, good. Alright. And yeah, it is 13 cards, so there's no way to tie on this one. I mean, I guess they could, like, rip one of these in half, but that'd be pretty bad. Also, like, in the same way that the tops had, like, negator abilities, do the cards still have the powers of, their chosen negator? Like, I guess, like, Top and Shikara can't really do anything here. Ishin, I think, would only make sense if there is a situation where they try to, like, break one of the cards. For the others, I guess it doesn't really matter. My deceased parents. So that is. My deceased parents shall not be ashamed of what their son aims to be. Okay. So his plan is just, I'm gonna run to the card and smack Fuka out of the way and steal it. Also, like, Fuko having some, bit of protection is actually really cool. Like, she's still taking, most of this physical damage, but yeah, like, I'm glad that she's not, like, actually physically taking the slap directly on her body. Right. Also, I'm 2 for 2, so I'm feeling pretty good about this one. Juiz, what is it about Fuko that you consider hope? Of course, as he picks up the Juiz card. Together we have cycled through eternity, so this is for you. Allowing you to perish is my vision of justice. So that also actually does, like, The previous two didn't really add a lot to the statement, but this makes a lot of sense as a clear, like, Juiz does want Victor to die, which makes sense because, you know, like, Andy's whole thing for a while was also wanting to die. Oh, the relationship is so weird, like, in a good way. Like, they both have this clear mindset now of, I want the other person to die because we have cycled through eternity again and again and again, and neither of us would want the person we love to have to deal with this every single time, every single loop. Oh, we skimmed through a few, actually. I wonder if some of those were the big, heavy spoilers in order to touch him. So, okay. That's also actually really interesting. Because, yeah, I guess it is a fundamental, like, you know, she can't take a direct hit because that would, you know, entail touching him way more directly. But also, again, he's probably going to break her human bones. Ooh. This would actually be a really good, like, promotional item. Like, I can't imagine this being, like, you know, something you would buy in a game store. But just as a, like, cute little promo thing, I could definitely see all of these being printed and sold in Japan. Fuko's risking her life to charge Spring full of unluck. And again, this is, like, she hasn't had that much time since the top thing, and since, you know, right before the top thing when she was blasted with full of information from, you know, all these different artifacts. Like, she is definitely gonna pass out once she wins. My life savior in his impossible dream, I shall lend my voice. And so, yeah, so this one has to be, like, I shall lend my voice. I cannot voice my true wish of stopping him in this plan. Like, I can definitely see that being a big, like, Billy losing his mind as he's like, oh, wait a minute, crap, so he doesn't want me to do this. Like, not that I think he cares that much. Like, he is very hardened. But knowing, like, in the depth of his soul that Tella doesn't want him to do this, like, that's gotta change his mind a little bit. This is truly the difference between Billy and Fuko. Like, it is the difference of ruthlessness versus love. It is the difference between going in and saving people versus what if we nuke Tokyo? Spring once received someone's love and he suffered, opposed God, and tried to compromise the people. You know, that's actually a really good way of putting it. Like, up until this point, the only direct intervention by God has been, like, the existence of negators, and then, like, the suffering that every negator has when their ability is first introduced. Like, whenever there's a very clear, like, this is being done in the worst possible way, like, that is explicitly part of God's plan. And to have God now, like, assume direct control of Spring, and, like, to do it again is a clear, like, well, we're starting to rattle him. Maybe coming little by little, but we've got a chance. And while it may be an overly optimistic idea, I'm sure that this buildup of love will one day reach God. And so, yeah, it was that card. And yeah, that is our big, like, stroke of unluck on an Uma directly. No need for, like, you know, Andy to be standing on the other side. Fuko has done it. Fuko clearly does love Spring. And that is really cool. Like, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that, but right. Like, because we introduced the concept of Fuko having, like, more control over unluck, specifically with the failure, with, like, the giant ball of ice that, you know, nearly killed everyone. That also does create a really interesting, like, quirk to her powers, in that, like, how would I put this? Like, as long as it's not Andy, she'll be able to do, like, interesting moves like this, where, like, she can touch someone and then stop and then touch them again, and, like, build up the unluck and then, like, choose a specific way in which that unluck will be used. But for Andy, we'll still have the, like, big roll of the dice of, we know this is gonna work, but you know, she might be trying really, really hard to have it be a specific thing, but the, you know, how exactly it plays out might still be way more chaotic than if it's, you know, directly touching someone else. Ooh. Hey, let me pull this up. So, together we have cycled through eternity, so this is for you. Allowing you to perish is by vision of justice. We got that one. I guess I shouldn't say the ones that we've already gone through. So this one, again, that's obviously, move. Okay, so I can't back out, but I have everyone here, so it's no worries. So please, you don't have to be all so filled with all that sadness. For my comrades wish, if even by making the very rules of war fall, should I not make on it good on it, then I shall make you fall, God. And then you have given me both mighty words and power that are mine to use. I shall live up to the call, all through eyes devoid of lies. Yeah, mighty words and power definitely make me think it's gotta be, I mean, yeah, like, both those are 100% Mui. And I'm really, really happy that Tosca chose, like, these two to be, like, the ones where you get the full information. Because these are two that I was very iffy with. I can't get back out, but I have everyone here, so it's no worries. So please, you don't have to be so filled with all that sadness. who could that be if not Creed? I think I'm genuinely still gonna go with Creed on that one, because I think that also fills the other aspect of uh Undecrease, of like he has everyone there. Like I think we could definitely dig into the concept of, like he has nukes, he has missiles, he has all this stuff that, he can use, and then they won't really be used up. He still has them forever. And then, like, how is that different from negators? Like, how is that different from the people of Under? The difference being that if a member of Under gets used up, if Billy goes out and he dies and he doesn't come back, like, the amount of Billy in Under will decrease. The number of, human beings that are working with Creed will decrease. His power has no bearing on that. There's something there. I feel genuinely that there is something tragic and upsetting in there that I think would be really, really good in a flashback. Whereas for my comrade's wish, if even by making the very rules of war fall, should I not make good on it, then I shall make you fall, God. That is so, like, clearly aggro. It's, like, because also it is a specific, like, the very rules of war fall is also an interesting way of putting it. Like, that makes me think, like, it might not be Yusai. Because this feels like some sort of, like, removing the rules themselves. But I mean, I guess that's anyone who kills Uma, to be fair. Like, what are Uma if not the rules of war? Or, like, the rules of combat? I could see this one all, being Creed as well. But I'm going for 100% this one is Creed. Like, with this one, if even by making the very rules of war fall, shall I not make good on it, then I shall make you fall, God. Like, the thing that's really... Yusai might work, but that's very shaky. Bunny might work even more. Like, the one thing we see Bunny really do is, like, absorb a weapon. And so I could see Bunny being, like, unwar or something. Like, I don't know how to phrase it in such a way that, like, that would work with either the name Bunny or Bax. But I could see it being something like he has the ability to erase war. And the way that usually works is Bunny, like, takes weapons and, like, puts them into the body. The sadness one does feel a little childish. Like, yeah, the phrasing of it is... Also, it is very interesting that, like, all of these are based on someone else. Like, none of these are a self-description. They are all, like, talking about some other person. Like, whether it is, like, Victor or, like, whether it is Billy. I assume most of the Under ones would be Billy then. Because, like, for my comrade's wish, I assume that is, like, again, someone from Under talking about Billy. I can't get back out, but I have everyone here, so it's no worries. So please, you don't have to be so filled with all that sadness. Yeah, that does give me this vibe of, some, like, they are talking about someone who would not want them to be in a war or in a fight. Like, it's got a bit of that, like, child soldier energy, if anything. Like, that one, to be fair, could be Bunny then. Why is Bunny the one that comes up the most? I mean, it's because Bunny is such a strange enigma of a being. I think I'm gonna go with this one is Creed, this one is Bunny. I'm not 100% on either of those, but that makes the most sense to me right now. I'll stick with it. If I try to back out of this one in the future, tell me no. Fantastic. So that is Undead Unluck. Undead Unluck really is, like, it really is a skill of the series to introduce information that is just so compelling in a chapter without it being, like, the entire focus of the chapter. Like, there's so many other ways that Undead Unluck has done exactly this, where, like, we've got the plot of the chapter, and there is a reveal in the chapter, but also there's just this other thing that I talk about for, like, 15 minutes straight after the chapter is over. Ooh. So big. Yeah. Like, seeing her out of the armor is so, like, mind-bending, because I'm so used to, like, seeing Ishin in the armor, and it is a clear, like, yeah, of course, like, if she was that big in the armor, she has to be that big out of the armor. If, like, maybe, like, an inch or two smaller because of the, helmets. Oh, that's so good. Okay, Undead Unluck gets an easy. Does it beat Ayashimon? I guess it does. Stiff competition. I really thought when I finished Black Clover that, like, this chapter would make it into the top 3. But it's Jump is too good. It's not allowed. With that, let us move on to Dr. Stone, chapter 218. All right. Time to use the internet. Internet? That's the thing I used on my smartphone. Boy, if you had gotten to me around the first volume of Dr. Stone, you told me, yeah, Taiju's main thing in the series is going to be saying, yeah, smartphone. I know what a smartphone is. I would have been very, very surprised. But I would say, like, like, that is right there with his incredible strength. Like, I feel like, especially because he's, shown up less and less. Like, when we see him, it's, I'd say the strength is still more. Like, we have more instances of that. But he's catching up with the smartphone thing. He keeps on bringing it up. So how do you make the internet? With Tochu tea. Now this is classic Dr. Stone. Also, good reaction image. I mean, we got a Chelsea in there, but I don't think that completely negates how strong the image is. I get it. We all drink some tasty tea, and then we'll be powered up enough to make the internet. Oh, it's time for the World Wide Web. Oyster. Is that what oysters do? Okay, we're here for that stretchy stuff. So I'm guessing this is like the easiest way to make like fiber optic cables. Okay. Are we gonna get 3D printers in a bit? We're dropping cords down into the oceans. Okay, yeah, this is all stuff we've already had. So this is just we just need this in order to totally waterproof it. Cool. Undersea cables acquired. Oh man, I'm glad we're at least seeing this a little bit. Like, I'm fine with getting the entire internet in, one chapter, but I'm still going to stand against the, being able to get the entire internet in, like, one page. But yeah, the speed of Dr. Stone is unbelievable. It is real whack. And, like, I totally get some things, but there are other things that will always, like, rankle my nose a little bit. Where it's like, did we really have to do it this quickly? Or rather, like, it's the kind of situation where I wish we had more of a, like, video gamey timer thing. Where, like, instead of being like, okay, and then we do this, and this project would take, like, 3 months, and so we're gonna just skip past that until it's done. I would much rather have, like, a chapter, like, have some chapters that are like, we're gonna do this thing, and this will be done in 3 months, and then, like, we'll have people be doing that in the background, and then while that's happening, we do this other thing. Like, having more of a, like, like, doing more things simultaneously, I think, would give me more of this, like, feeling of, yeah, there's still time passing. There's still, like, this big impact going on. Or, like, these characters have to sit around and wait for this to happen. Or if these characters are doing something really important. It's not that big of a deal, but, like, it's something that makes me feel kind of weird. Finally back in Hawaii. Did it take them this long to get coffee? Really? I could have sworn we already had, like, Ryusui bucks at some point. That it might have been, like, for tea or something. Oh, all I'm saying is, I'm gonna be real upset if they get to the moon, and then we get, like, a big splash page where they run over and they beat Y-Man, and we get the big black Y-Man defeated. What is this logo? Well, I guess... Oh, it's Xeno. Okay. It took me a second. But yeah, like, the X really sold it on me. Is that supposed to be an N? Like, I definitely would have had this be, like, an X, an E, and an N, and then the circle would be the O. But that looks like this is also supposed to be the O. I mean, it's also definitely playing off of, like, at least one logo or two that I can't quite think of right now. Also, it is wild to me that, like, we're this deep in, and we still have, like, the, like, random blob people in the background to fill out spaces where we have, like, other, like, fully drawn characters. It's like, we also have this shot where, like, who is this? Why is this not a random blob character for still doing random blob characters? That does sound like a really interesting thing to get into. Yeah, I'm always, like, I haven't looked into it, but I am very fascinated with, like, just, like, the concept of trade routes. And, like, the concept of, like, what is considered to be super cheap and what isn't, like, as, like, and, like, how that is changed by how actually expensive it is to get, or how difficult it is to get, or, like, how much exploitation is a part of, like, getting this thing. I mean, to be fair, we've had this problem of, like, randos ever since, like, the big splash page of 40 characters, where then we also had other people around. Like, that was the big, here is every character in the village, but not really. There's also a lot of other people in the village we're not going to talk about. This is just 40 people you should kind of be aware of in the village. Internet acquired. We did it. We have the internet. We can see all these characters that we know and love, like this guy, or this guy, or this guy. We finally have Zoom in the Stone World. Ah, we're getting closer and closer to Twitch in the Stone World. They finally don't need to use Morse code anymore. I mean, I imagine they still will, just because, like, you know, it's more efficient. Or, like, for certain instances, it's more efficient. But yeah, being able to just, like, voice chat with people is pretty strong. Do these have cameras? Like, how are they getting each other's images? Like, I see how they're displayed, but where's the camera? Like, we know they had one. Or I guess this is it, actually, right? Like, we're not seeing it in this shot, but yeah, that's definitely the camera. Ah, gonna finally get laughed by Dr. Stone. I'll have to compete with Ginro on Dr. Stone reactions. I mean, we're only like, what, 5 chapters out before we get to simping in the Stone World? I mean, never mind. We've been simping in the Stone World for a while now. I forgot about Luna. Luna is where we got the first, like, what I would consider to be the first simping in the Stone World. But even then, I imagine, like, there are earlier instances. There's gotta be. Huh. How would... I mean, they have faxing, right? Why can't they just fax stuff? We'll use e-paper. Okay. Oh, that's really cool! That's actually really clever. Only the engineers on the call seem to be excited. Yeah, we finally got tablets. They can finally do art streams in the Stone World. Ah, we really are getting closer and closer. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure I can't write on my screen anymore. Or has that been fixed? Okay, never mind. It's been fixed. We're good. I was really, really worried that Dr. Stone had finally lapped me in technology. Boy GB tune in the Stone World. I can't believe how possible that is to happen. We're getting there. That's my secret, homie. All my videos are age restricted. Or rather, actually, I don't know if is that still different? Like, I always mark my videos as not safe for kids, as just a fundamental, like, I don't want this to be, I don't want any of my reactions to be on YouTube Kids. But is that separate from, like, age restriction? I guess it has to be. I should probably look into that. Boy, GB Stoon for you. We'd better select our team of astronauts and start training for outer space travel. This stance looks like they're going to be fighting on the moon, which, to be fair, they might be. I mean, there's also a gun here, so, and yeah, like, they are going for a Y-man, so to be fair, I guess they would have to bring up people that can fight on the moon. And I am very, very excited to see the training. Like, they're gonna have to make a centrifuge, they're gonna have to, like, you know, have, like, training underwater. I'm so excited. They're gonna have to do altitude training. I mean, Japan has some tall mountains, but like, Mount Fuji erupted, right? So, like, do they have anywhere higher? I mean, I guess they have the hot air balloon, so you can just, like, hot air balloon high enough to like, mess with your breath. I will start to go stir crazy if we do another, like, multi-year time skip and no one's designs change and they don't talk about it. No, this is very, very cursed. Very bad. I hate it. I don't like it. Stop. I mean, this is Dr. Stone. We already have Space Waifu as a possibility that may or may not be canon, but may be canon. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this one. Oh boy. The internet is a wild place. Very, very cursed. It's been one chapter and the internet has already destroyed the Stone World. I mean, they can finally do Bitcoin in the Stone World. We can finally get a Drago coin. Now, I mean, I fully believe that if Senku invented Bitcoin in the Stone World, he would make it, like, he wouldn't have it be, like, proof of work. So it'd be fine-ish. Oh, okay, so that is Dr. Stone. Good, but not fantastic. Like, middle of the road, definitely no Ayashimon, no Black Clover either, so, right there. Still better than Elusive Samurai. And, like, that isn't, like, Elusive Samurai was really good this week, so that's still pretty darn good. Yeah, I'm going over the final ranking just to see, like, do I want to shift anything? But I think this is fine. And we still have 2 series ready to dethrone the king Sakamoto Days. It's possible. Let's see. Next we've got My Hero Academia, chapter 333. We're halfway to 666. We are at half evil. So, last chapter, I believe I made the clear statement of, oh no, I forgot her actual name. But Star and Stripe will not die. We shall see if I was right or wrong. Now, to be fair, I did not make a bet. I said that I thought it was not going to happen, but we did specifically bring up, like, are we going to stake anything on this? Is this going to be a bet? And I said no, because I am a coward. You might be used to Donuts and his willing to eat shorts. However, I refuse. I have slightly more brain cell in my brain right now when it comes to bets. And so I chose to just accept that I am wrong and accept humiliation should I not be right about this. But I have a pretty solid feeling that she's gonna be fine. Like, if I have to be more specific, I would say that she's gonna just, like, skedaddle. What set me on edge like nothing else was the thought of New Order and One for All colluding. And I do really like that, like, All for One, like, or at least the vestige of All for One, did think about this specifically as a clear, like, yes, I am going to be the Urabancho of Japan. I'm going to rule over it in the darkness. I'm going to be Washizu from Akagi. But, like, the entire world is going to then try to attack me. As I presume they tried to do, like, 100 years ago when he ruled Japan before. So I appreciate, like, just having this acknowledgement of, yeah, he was planning for this, but he had plans to, have the perfect, like, Shigaraki fusion existence before that point. Oh, that's so gross looking. Like, it's like a giant, like, elephant's paw smashing down upon the world. Whether you knew it or not, this most likely unsanctioned, free-spirited early visit of yours was the one scenario I hated to imagine. Okay, Kathleen Vale won't decay. And I'm really surprised, actually, that this fusion being did go for the decay. Like, my statement last time was, there's no way that the decay is going to happen. Like, we're definitely going to go for a grab the body, suck New Order out. But this does make sense. Like, giving it the priming of, yes, like, this is something that definitely could destroy All for One. And so they are scared poopless. Like, they are genuinely terrified. And yeah, you're right, Gamu. Okay. So it was a simultaneous, like, steal the quirk and decay the body. That's so cool. Stories I read with you that day, those comics. You thought I didn't realize there was more to the story. Okay, does he have New Order? Okay. I'm sorry, what? Is her vestige inside of him that powerful? Like, is this an immediate, like, ha ha ha? Or, actually, I would highly doubt that she intended to do it, but maybe her spirit is just so strong that her vestige within him is capable of messing with him. Also, yes, I can't let that go. I can't let go of the big All for One stopping and going like, this isn't interesting to me. I'm not gonna read this. Who cares about One Piece? I dropped it within the first few volumes. Okay, what in the world? I set a new rule at the last second. New Order revolts against other quirks. Oh, that's so cool! That is such a cool idea. Holy moly. She is a genius. Or rather, like, I guess it's unfair to call her a genius. She is a very, very clever idiot. Like, this is the best move to make in a scenario where she's already screwed up. It is incredible. It's a real Schrodinger. It's a real, you've absorbed me, and therefore you're going to lose everything else inside of you. Because, like, I don't know how he'd figure this one out. The only answer I have right now is, if they have a copy of Twice's quirk, then, like, how would I explain this? I could see a scenario in which they, like... No, that's not how Twice works, though. Well, Twice does make another physical body, but they would both be the same. What I was envisioning is something where, like, the vestige of All for One and Shigaraki separate themselves. Like, because we've already in this arc built up the concept of them right now not being either of those people, but this body being, like, this other entity that, cannot be named Tomura Shigaraki, but also is probably not All for One. I think it would be interesting if Shigaraki, like, because the body is still, like, this work of art, this physical thing that might, in terms of raw power, surpass like the raw power output of like One for All. So if we separated it into like Tomura Shigaraki has Decay and New Order, but even then, it would have to be like if they split bodies and like the vestige goes into one, Shigaraki goes into the other, and the vestige of All for One takes All for One, the quirk along with it, and New Order. That would just leave a super strong Shigaraki with Decay, and that I don't think Horikoshi would do. This is so unbelievably cool. The worst case would have been dying and having a quirk stolen outright. And yeah, this is the ultimate, like, I think I've lost this one. I think she's gonna die, but this makes so much sense as a big, like, dying with a smile on your face. Dying in order to genuinely, like, if not kill Shigaraki, at the very least, like, completely annihilate this body. I can only steal quirks or bestow them. I can't just dispose of one. That's also a really cool, like, note, because, yeah, those are the two things we have been told about. And this is a situation where, like, why would... Because, yeah, I guess it also means that, like, every time All for One, like, worked with the Doctor in order to, like, take one of his quirks and, like, put it into isolation, like, he wasn't just, like... He wasn't going, like, ugh, and then, like, squeezing out the quirk factor for that specific quirk and then putting it into a jar. Like, he would have had to, like, get a person, put that quirk into that person, and then the Doctor would have had to, like, kill them and take the quirk factor out. It is such a highly specific problem, or, like, highly specific, like, downside that would only be important in a situation like this. Imagine being one of these random pilots and just being given New Order and then going, well, I guess I have New Order now. I guess I have the quirk of the #1 hero of America. This is a weird one. I mean, I guess the problem is that, like, she can have one change that affects just her physical body and one that affects anything else. And it seems like affecting her quirk is not affecting her physical body, even though the quirk factor is, like, a part of the body. I guess it's like, she can target, like, her name, but then separately, like, she can target a specific bit of herself. You do raise a good point. Though I wonder if that is, like, based around the self-targeting part of like, of her quirk. If it is like, she can change what her own quirk does to some extent, but, like, A, that's going to disappear the moment she changes, like, she makes another self-targeting statements, and B, like, yeah, because, like, this isn't a fundamental, your quirk now does something different. Yeah. I mean, that, and also, like, 99% of the time, I don't think there would have been, like, there's no real benefit to touching someone and saying your quirk, causes you to turn into ice, versus, like, knowing that person's name and then touching them and saying you turn into ice. Like, anyone whose quirk you know the name of, I imagine it'd be a lot easier to learn what that person's name is than their quirk. It really depends on, like, on the intricacies of it. Because we know for a fact, like, there is a limit to how strong she can boost herself. And therefore, there's got to be a limit to, like, how much she could boost her own quirk should she self-target it. And in the same way, there's got to be, like, a limit to how much she could change someone else or someone else's quirk should she, like, touch them and then try to make that change. I wonder how many quirks he's going to be left with by the end of this. Because again, like, the Doctor's been destroyed. Any, like, either the, like, extra quirks that, were in the lab were all destroyed. If anything still remains, it would have been, like, taken into custody. This is a real, like, is Shigaraki going to just have to, like, wander around like an animal after this point and, absorb people's quirks? I mean, it looks like New Order might just straight up kill the vestige in here, so it might be just Shigaraki by the end of it. God damn. Yeah, I will agree with that. Like, there are many questions left open by, like, what New Order can and can't do, but there are also, like, enough rules there that I'm not that bothered by it. I mean, that, and also the fact that, like, if she was, like, a super bottom of the barrel hero and she had this quirk, I would be very confused about it. But, like, she is #1. So I can assume that, like, most of the things that she can do, either she has done or she chose not to do it because it would be extremely unethical. / like, it doesn't fit her style. Like, that is the other, big thing to keep in mind with, like, superpowers in a thing. It is the big, like, why doesn't Superman just use, like, a combination of super strength and super speed to turn everyone into, like, meat paste? The answer being, he wouldn't do that because that's not the kind of person he is. That said, I am still disappointed that this is how she's going out. Like, in the sense that, like, this is a really cool way to go out. This is generally just, like, really, really cool. This is super iconic. But I wish she had been able to stick around. Like, she is just unbelievably cool as a character. And I would have been perfectly fine with her being a little more nerfed if it meant, like, she gets to meet Deku. Or, like, we get to have, like, her strike fear into, like, Shigaraki and All For One for a longer period of time. Like, this chapter did do a lot to, like, satisfy me in that regard. This is a clear, like, she has made a mark on them. She has, like, done something that is genuinely, like, it is going to change the entire series. But yeah, I will fully agree with Homie that the #1 hero of USA showed up, very quickly, nerfs Shigaraki / All For One, dies. That is fundamentally not the coolest. I have higher hopes for the other various heroes, in the sense that I think, like, I'm sure that she's going to be, like, the highest benchmark. I don't think any individual other hero in the setting, like, besides, Deku, but, like, any of the other international heroes, I don't think are going to stack up to her in terms of, like, raw power and capability. But hopefully that means that they'll be able to, like, do more because they are less of a threat. And again, I do, like, as broken as she is, I really do appreciate that as a clear, like, that is why she is #1. Like, again, she is the #1 hero in America, the country that allows you to legally use quirk-boosting drugs. And, like, it doesn't seem like she boosts herself at all. Like, yeah, the fact that there is an entire sequence of state-of-the-art missiles that were used for a portion of this fight, and that was not even, like, the defining, like, final blow of the whole thing, is buck wild. I really, really hope that when this gets animated, that it is done well, because this is definitely, like, an unbelievable spectacle. This has got to be the highlight of the series. This cannot just be a bunch of JPEGs sliding around. Yeah. The only other thing I could think of would be, like, passing it to an animal, but as I said before, like, they set off, multiple missiles, like, multiple ICBMs over the water. And we had, like, the big air punch as well. Like, any, like, animal in the ocean has to be dead at this point. And, like, Principal Nezu is the only animal we know of that's been able to, like, have a quirk anyways. Like, animals can have quirks, but it seems to be unbelievably rare. And, like, still almost certainly not a problem here. I mean, imagine if, like, these plane guys managed to, like, successfully retrieve the body. It is permanently dead. We go, they go back to America, they burn his body, and then in Japan, a shark just walks out of the ocean that has, like, the combined vestiges of Shigaraki and All For One in it. But yeah, unbelievable spectacle of a chapter. I don't think it's gonna make the top 3, though. It was unbelievably cool, and that has a lot to it. Like, that is why I really like something like Black Clover, for instance. But I don't think it had a lot of substance as an individual chapter itself. It was just unbelievably cool. Yeah, I'm really curious to see this vestige, like, if it ever does merge with the original All For One again, or if it does, like, just communicate with him. I'm really curious to see the severance in the two of them, because I think this might have, like, traumatized him a little bit. And I'd be very curious to see if the other half, if the original All For One would heed that warning, or whether he would just be like, yeah, you failed, you suck. Because I could see him genuinely going either way. I could see him, like, being concerned, but I could also see him just thinking of it as, well, I'm glad it wasn't me. This was all worth it if it meant getting rid of that pest. Or, like, it's a shame, but that just means I have to, fill that body full of quirks again. I am really, really curious to see how the original All For One deals with the information of this happening. Also, just, like, how the world reacts to this, if they do. Like, they're definitely gonna react to, like, the missiles exploding over the ocean. And, like, the, like, perceived, like, like, the #1 hero definitely dying. Like, that's gonna be a big one. But, like, how much of this is going to be broadcast? Because, like, if All For One also manages to, like, take out these planes, I don't know how this combination being would do that, though, to be fair. Because, again, yeah, like, they have lasers, and they are flying, and Like, there is, like, it seems like there is a Nomu here. Or actually, no, that is All For One. That is All For One trying to like cars. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything else to really add to this one. It is just like, it might get into the top 3. Like, I am still like a bit shook from it. Yeah, I might just slide down Ayashimon. Like, that series definitely has a lot of promise to it, and it has that like first chapter charm. But this was a really standout chapter. So I will slide that right in there. And let us move on to the final series of the day, which is Me and Roboco, Chapter 65. Every time. Or almost every time. Huh. So we're immediately starting this with strange energy, which, to be fair, is what I want from a Me and Roboco chapter. If it's just, like, boy looking at girl, that's, that's usually a sign for a chapter, a very middle-of-the-road chapter. This gives me a big, like, this is either going to be great or it's going to be terrible. Oh no, I don't like this Me and Roboco lore in chat. Getting the feeling this is the start of some new shtick. So we have a grin is a great way to win. And it's okay to cry, actually don't. You have to come home to be welcome back. These aren't affirmations. These aren't really ideals. Is she hitting on him? What? I am lost. What is this new gimmick? Truth is, I found my ideal woman, the one I aspire to be just like. Oh no, this is definitely going to be some sort of strange actual celebrity thing, right? Like, if it's a fictional character, generally I can understand it. But if this is going to be another, like, it's this actress from this J-drama series I've never heard of, I'm going to be absolutely lost. It's Miss Mika. I don't know. Oh no. Oh no. It's one of these. Please have some sort of respect for the audience. Please explain the joke. Does the mangaka just have a crush? I think I'm gonna have to look up Mika real quick. This feels like a real, like, this is vital to understanding the jokes. I see. This is definitely some sort of lady. I see. Oh no, this chapter feels extremely dire. Okay, I can live with the idea of Roboco trying to do good things. That's not dangerous. That is in the top 10 of things Roboco has tried to do for sure. Oh no, these gags are very, very dire. If this is all Roboco just working through the idea of being of liking girls, I'd be fine with that. The real danger is just that Roboco will always be like this. Which is possible. Like, we did have the famous chapter where Roboco became an idol, and then ever since then, like, the series has been very, very consistent about bringing up the fact that she was once an idol, and that does explain a lot of her, like, being weird, being quirky, like, acting as if she's popular. So I'm very, very scared that she might in fact become Mika after this point. Oh no. Oh no. Did I screw up the screen? Oh. Let me check real quick. There we are. It might have just been like a little hiccup. It's Roboco. Oh no. It's because I wasn't calling her idol Ms. Mika. Well, hopefully this doesn't delve into the dark era of my channel, in which the internet just screwed up constantly. Oh boy. I don't know how good this reaction is. This is entirely me just being baffled by the... Like, Roboco's already baffling when I know what she's talking about, because she always, like, brings up very specific, like, descriptions of a character where I know for a fact this is not what the character is like. And now that's happening, but because I don't know who Ms. Mika is, it adds this extreme extra layer of, like, I don't know if these are jokes or not. Are these quotes? Her calendar was published by Kodansha. So this isn't even a, like, weird Shueisha cross-promotion move. This is just a completely different company. Are you okay, Miyazaki-sensei? Is this legal? Is there a lot to learn here? These are so unbelievably generic. Like, not in a bad way, but just in a, like, they have no, like, thorough line here. These are all just, like, random things I think my mom would, like, send me over Facebook. Oh, okay, Roboco calendar. I can live with this. Please give me more Roboco calendar. This may in fact have jokes I understand. Night pa, morning ma. This at least is absurd and doesn't make any sense. Knees are what let us bend our legs. If they fall in love with your flaws, they're all yours. My knees, Nappa's knees. Kneecaps, but I'm just a little girl. Oh no, what? This is a really strong calendar idea. See, I can understand this because at the very least, I'm used to Roboco having, like, you know, whenever she creates something, there's this air of she wants you to be hitting on her, but she also doesn't want you to be hitting on her. And that I can understand. This is at least, you know, like there's a thorough line here. There's a strong character to this. This feels like a very useful reaction image in the future. Let me just steal this real quick. It feels like I'm being forced to look at images I never wanted to see. Wait, she met Anmika. I'm sorry, what? Okay, Roboco's going to Paris. Oh boy. The gag structure of this chapter is so, like, it's so unlike Roboco. It is way closer to something like Toy Poodle. Like, it is so bokeh heavy. Oh no! Oh no! I don't like this new Roboco form. What happened? Oh boy. Those are some clamp-ass legs. Holy crap. The knees are so thin. Like, they still have definition, but even the definition is thinner. How did this happen? How is Roboco? I had me a bite of the human fruit model and Mika. Oh no. How did this happen? What a chapter. I gotta put this at the bottom, right? I mean, that is the danger of inventing new forms of comedy. And to be fair, I did say for the last couple of chapters, like, Roboco's getting a little, like, normal with the comedy. Like, you know, I've seen this kind of chapter before, it's whatever. This is most certainly a gag I have never seen before. I don't know if it's funny. I don't know if it's comedy. I don't know if it's manga. It is definitely promotion for a company that is not Shueisha, which is strange in its own rights. I'll be thinking about this one, but I don't know if those are going to be good thoughts. With that, I think we just gotta move on. I don't think there's any getting back from that one. Mangaka Comments. Welcome to Jump Yuji Kaku. I don't know why, but I keep on saying Yuki Kaju. I think I'm thinking of the musical artist behind, like, the Madoka soundtrack, Yuki Kaijira. So expect me to mess up this person's name constantly, even though I have read a previous series by them. Is it not truly tragic when you have a calendar that you really, really like, and you're coming up to the very end? Because, yeah, you can have a calendar. Like, I'm sure I have, like, an old calendar or two somewhere around here that I have because I love the images. But I'm never going to look at the images. Like, fundamentally, just because it's a calendar for a year that is, you know, super far in the past. Calendars really are, like, how do I put this? They feel very digital, even though they predate digital stuff, you know, so deeply, because of how, like, throwaway they are. Because it is fundamentally a, like, we are going to give you really nice printings of these really interesting images, whether they're, like, cats or, like, models, or, like, most of the ones I've ever gotten have been of cats. And, like, it's a real, like, I want to keep these pictures of cats, but I'm not going to do anything with them. Like, I cannot justify having these around. And so I gotta, you know, eventually I'll put them in a box, and then I'll forget what's in the box, and then I'll throw away the box. But at the same time, I'll never stop, because calendars are, like, they're so compelling. And also because I do, like, I haven't, I've had a lot of, like, small calendars as of late, but I do want to get back into, like, you know, those big lush ones. Just because I do think, like, having a physical calendar you can, like, write on is more impactful than having a digital one. Even though my digital one is way more useful to me, because, like, you know, I can set notifications and stuff on it. There's still something to, like, counting down the days until a certain event, or, like, being able to quickly scribble down, like, this is important, or, like, putting a little color on it, and then also having, like, you know, the big cat image. Bravinto, you raise a very good point. At the very least, I should be, like, scanning these images, or, like, using my phone to, like, take pictures of them. Because, like, there is a fundamental, like, usually when I get a good calendar, they have images that I find very compelling that I probably can't find online. And so I should, like, keep them in some way if they give me that much happiness. At the very least, so I can, like, flip through them and go like, oh man, that was September. That's so cute. Ah. Oh no, I like inking, but I recently realized that I'm not good at it. I learn something new all the time. Oh no, Horikoshi. Imagine being 333 chapters into your series and realizing, oh, I'm bad at this. That must be truly crushing. This does also raise the question of, like, in the next, like, arc of My Hero, is all the line work going to be super, super, like, slim? Are those big, chunky, like, lines that we know and love from My Hero, like, is that an accident? Did Horikoshi, like, to be fair, this isn't even implying that Horikoshi keeps on doing it and he's messing it up and it looks the way it does. It implies that he just looked at it, like, last week and realized, oh, this is bad. The way I would like to interpret this, actually, is that all charcoal My Hero Academia sounds amazing. But the way I'd like to interpret this is if he got, like, a new like a new assistant, and that assistant is, capable of doing the inks really, really well. And that is what made Horikoshi go like, oh, it takes me so long to do the exact same thing. I'm not good at this. But not that the inking itself is bad, just that he is bad at, like, creating it the way he wants to do it. Damn, I did not know the first underwater cable was made in the mid-19th century. That is wild. Happy, lucky, love, smile, peace, dream. Is Miyazaki-sensei okay? Someone look in on him. This is a real, like, Mashal sort of post. I tried to draw a reusable bag, but it didn't feel right, so I gave them a plastic bag. Oh, wait. Is this PPP spoilers? Oh no. When I get tired, I get the desire to see grotesque and shocking things. Why is that? If anyone else also has this feeling, let me know, because I don't. This is a real, like, I have never heard anyone express this feeling before in my life. The first week off in my life. Yusei Matsui. Like, I assume that means that he never took a week off for his other two serializations, which is unbelievable. I mean, I can definitely see it with Assassination Classroom. I don't remember there being any Assassination Classroom breaks, but also, like, I didn't read that series weekly. I just, like, remember it having been running alongside a bunch of other stuff. Oh, no. It's really, like, it's a real, like, I believe all mangakas should try to take some weeks off. Even if they don't need to, just, take a week off in order to, like, help your life be a little less awful. No one should work a, like, an Eiichiro Oda-esque schedule, ever. It's horrible, it's bad, it will kill you. Oh, you're one of them. Ah, I see that Tosca did, in fact, or no, well, the Tosca just, like, included, extra information about some of the poems we already saw. We have not seen the ones that didn't get used. I really hope we get all of them. And I do genuinely think, like, a Undead Unluck themed Karta deck would be really, really good. Because that also means that, like, they could throw in some characters that, haven't, that wouldn't be in this situation. Like, characters that are already dead, or characters that just aren't here right now. Like, I think that'd be a really cool idea. Because that is also, like, a genuinely really good fan-only sort of thing. Like, I'm not the kind of person who would buy a lot of, like, this series themed playing cards, because it doesn't really matter. But for something like Karta, like, it makes a lot of sense to me that, yeah, you would want them to be, like, super specific to this fandom or that sort of thing. And for them to be in series also just makes them so much more appealing to me. Ah, hope to see you soon, Minya Hiraga. Especially, like, the stuff in Volume 3. I'm very glad that Viz does, like, I mean, like, we probably won't get this for, like, another year or so, but eventually Viz is probably going to put out Neru as, like, a digital-only series. And when that happens, I'll probably pick up Volume 3 just to read, like, the behind-the-scenes stuff. I am very curious to see, like, what was going on there. Anyways, that is Weekly Shonen Jump for the week of November 14th, 2021. Very, very satisfying. Thank you very much for, like, hanging out with me for this one. Also, thanks for accepting the, shift from Monday to Tuesday this week. Next week should go back to Monday. We will see how that goes. Also, I'll say this in the redirect, but I'll say it, at first for you guys. New volume of Alita has been recorded. New One Piece has been recorded. One Piece might actually come out before Alita. Like, they're both recorded, but the One Piece one doesn't really need any editing. Whereas the Alita one, I think, might need a little editing here and there. Like, I might need to actually, like, go in and, like, remove a few, like, weird breaks and stuff. All right. Terminal Cumbrain out.